What's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Grant Cohn, Coach Noah Johnston, just getting into the off season. Coach has done a lot of research and homework today on what the Niners should do, big picture, what they should prioritize, and safeties they should look at in particular. I think you have some names. I also want to talk about a guy you've been mentioning since you came on the show, Stephon Gilmore. You've been banging that drum for a long. He's a free agent. Am I wrong? So we'll talk about that too. But let's start off with the Niners off-season priorities. What do you think they should be, are, will be, could be, might be?
I think first, I know I talk about safeties and Stephon Gilmore, but I do think the first thing should be taking care of that offensive line. They had to figure out what they're going to do with Laken Tomlinson. Is Alec Mack going to retire, or is he coming back? Because I think their priority is Trey Lance, because he's the future, and you got to protect him, right? You have your premier left tackle. Eventually, coming back. Think and so you need to secure that. You don't want him running for his life, although he can run. You don't want him. You want to protect him. So what are you doing there? If you're gonna let Tomlinson walk, Aaron Banks has to be ready. Right. If Alex Mack isn't coming back, you need a plan. Like get a trade in place for somebody, or because we saw what. We saw when the center is in shambles, this offensive line is not good.
It seems to me that the Niners could upgrade every single spot on the offensive line except for left tackle.
Yeah, probably. It'd be tough to do, like to upgrade all four of them.
I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying they're all upgradable in the sense that Tomlinson is solid, but a free agent is probably going to get overpaid. And then you got Mack, who could retire and is worse than Tomlinson. And then you got Runskill, who shouldn't be a starter in the NFL. And then you got two right tackles who shouldn't. I'm sorry, Mike McGlinchey, I don't think he's a starter. He's a bad starter. He's not that much better than Tom Compton, frankly. Put it that way. I thought when Tom Compton entered he looked faster.
He did. Yeah, you know what I think would be an interesting name for them to take a flyer on, and I don't know if he's returning to play because he had some ankle surgery and he left the Steelers, was David DeCastro. He had some ankle surgery. He had some ankle problems, stopped playing.
Took the year off, right?
Yeah, he took the year off. Yeah. If he's good to come back, if you can get him like on a cheap flyer, he's a West Coast guy. I think he's from Oregon or Washington. He went to Stanford. But if that's a guy, like if he can play, he's going to play probably on a Pro Bowl level or close to it, and they'll certainly be better than Brunskill. I mean, I wouldn't give him a bag, but taking a flyer on him.
So I think we agree that the two main position groups the Niners need to focus their energy and resources in this offseason are the secondary and the offensive line.
Yeah, right? Then the secondary would, to me, after that is the secondary because you got Jaworski Tart. He's a free agent. Yeah. He's a free agent. So is Quan Williams. So you've got to take care of that too. So and then you need secondary depth. So you got to take it. But I think the offensive line is priority because you got to protect Trey Lance.
Yeah, and I think you could argue that offense is a little bit more important than defense in today's NFL. I don't know. They say defense wins championships, but it's usually the best offensive teams in the Super Bowl every year. There's that. But here's another thing. You could say that they're both important. Secondary, offensive line, both freaking important. The question is, where do you address each one? How do you address each one? And for me, the secondary is something you should address in the draft. I know the Niners are totally different with that. And also I think with the offensive line, at least this team, that should be something they address through trades and free agency because they have never shown that they can develop young offensive linemen. I mean, they keep trying to draft dudes from Notre Dame as if those are like proven products, but no. I don't know. It seems like they do much better when they trade for guys like the left side of the offensive line or sign guys like the center as opposed to what they're trying to do on the right side. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you set the table with the offensive line. Like for instance, if you think that Aaron Banks can come in and play for Laken Tomlinson, it'll give you money in free agency where you can maybe take care of the right guard. You could maybe address safety in free agency or corner or something like that. But if you have to re-sign Laken Tomlinson, that's going to probably cost $6-7 million, something like that. And then you're going to be restricted with what you can do in free agency to address some of those other positions.
They got a big decision with Tomlinson. This kind of reminds me of where the Rams were at a couple of years with Roger Saffold. They were paying him a lot. He was getting kind of old. He hit free agency. They let him go. They're like, well, we got some young guys. We were kind of prepared for this. We never wanted to pay him. He left. He goes to Tennessee. They're a really good running team. And ever since that move, the Rams haven't been able to run the ball. Yep. And I mean, it feels like you'd be overpaying Laken Tomlinson to get him right now on the open market. But if you don't get him, who else are you going to overpay for? Or are you just going to turn to Aaron Banks and hope and pray? And if it doesn't work out, where's your run game going to be? Is it going to be in the same state that the Rams run game is in pretty much right now, which is, I mean, really, with Laken Tomlinson this year, they ranked, I want to say, 16th in yards per carry. They were not a great running team. Can they really afford to lose someone like Tomlinson? How would they replace him? Banks? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is you can replace Laken Tomlinson with Laken Tomlinson. What do I mean by that? Is how did they get Laken Tomlinson? Looked around the league. They found Detroit. They're like, oh, I don't remember what it was. Cheap, right? Wasn't it like fourth rounder or something like that? Yeah, fourth, fifth rounder. Yeah. Find a guy in the league and be like, oh, like find a loser in the league. Like, oh, give me your guard for like.
That seems to be what the Niners should do here. Now I think the reason they got him is because Martin Mayhew drafted him, and he was in the front. I don't know if they have anyone like that who is that invested in the player.
Hey, this guy's pretty good, but
he's actually
this team's trash. But
yeah, the late first round pick who goes to a team like Detroit or something. Yeah. So,
but listen? Who did they just bring on? Right, the coach that they just brought on. Who? Lynn. Right.
Oh, Lynn, we're talking about the 49ers. I thought we were talking about
no, Lynn. So maybe he has a guy from that he's played with, and he's like, he's a running game coordinator. Maybe he has a guy like, hey, this guy's on this team. He's pretty good. Maybe we should go get him.
I like it. So do you agree with me? Free agency, trades, offensive line, draft, secondary. Although you may have some free agents for the secondary.
Pretty much. I think you can pick your spots. If there's a guy out there that's going to come to you, that's willing to come to you, and he's that good, and you can get him
like Gilmore, who we're going to talk about,
right, for a reasonable price, then I think so. I'd agree with that.
All right, let's move on. I think the Niners need a new starting safety. Either they bring back Jaquiski Tartt and hope for the best, or they give it to Talanoa Hufanga, who looked like not a starting safety, or they get someone new. What do you think they should do? Who do you think they should target?
I think, all right, with safety, I think bringing back Jaquiski is an option. But the thing you have to realize with bringing back Jaquiski is he's going to miss games more than likely because he nearly always does. Yeah. So you have to have some sort of backup plan. And the safeties are integral in what the 49ers do. The 49ers defense is very safety reliant in their what they do in the defending the run and defending the pass. So it's important that you have viable safety play. I don't think Hufanga is an option. He's very limited with what he can do physically. And I know people love him, but
114 quarterback rating he gave up this year.
Yeah, right.
Tartt was down at like 95. You can't go from Tartt to Hufanga. It's not enough.
Yeah. So if you bring Tartt back, it's like you have to address safety. I think very early in the draft, it's got to be your first, second pick, something like that, because you got to be prepared. It's got to be a decent player. So if you don't bring Tartt back, I think there's some names out there. I would prefer to go younger. And I'm looking for, what do the Niners look for in safety? First, I think they look for size. They don't. If you look nearly all the 49ers safety, I think Jimmy Ward is the only one that's under 6 foot. They're all 200 pounds. So you're looking for a size safety. That's the first thing. And they need to be versatile. The 49ers ask a lot of the safeties. They have to play in the run support, fill inside gaps. And they also have to be able to cover. The guy that I like, that I've started to watch a lot lately, and it's a name people should be familiar with, is Justin Reed. His brother played with the 49ers.
He's so good.
He's in the Texans. He ran a 4.4, and it showed. He was
spying Trey Lance in that game, and he was the reason Trey Lance really couldn't run against the Texans. If you remember.
Yeah, Grant. They played. They don't in last year. Last year in 2020, they played him a lot in the middle of field, and I don't know that I've seen a guy cover sideline to sideline since Earl Thomas. Like he can From the post,
you telling me he's an unrestricted free agent?
yes. From the post position, he's all over. Like he can get sideline to sideline. Now, I'm not telling you he's Earl Thomas, but I'm telling you he's got that kind of range.
He's better than Eric Reed, isn't he?
Yeah. He can get there.
Did he go to Stanford?
He did. He went to. Now I talked to Jack Hammer about this, and Jack, I think rightly so, he said there's some issues with Eric and the 49ers. Would that play a role in him signing? It might. I do think the 49ers have a very good reputation among players. I think for the most part, they treat their players fairly.
Like maybe Justin's like, hey, you did my brother wrong. I don't want to play.
Yeah.
Because the Niners shouldn't be like, hey. Because I liked Eric Reed. I mean, what did Eric Reed do? He had Colin Kaepernick's back. I always liked Eric Reed.
I don't know. What exactly happened with that? I mean, they tried to move him to linebacker, and then they let him go. Like,
yeah, I guess they felt Tart was better than him, and you know what? He was.
Yeah, right.
I was like, man, we need to play Tart, and so we want to play you too. So you want to try linebacker? And I think he resented it and felt it was for other reasons, and I don't know. But I just thought they played the better strong safety. I don't know.
I thought it was business. It's all business. That's what I didn't think they. I didn't think they
better than him. I thought Reed was a good free safety his rookie year. He had a bunch of interceptions, but he had a bunch of concussions too. And I never thought he was a good strong safety.
Yeah, I don't think, and this is my opinion, but I don't think his stance with Colin Kaepernick or anything played into that decision. I really don't. I think the 49ers when Colin was making that stand, I think the 49ers organization were pretty supportive of that. I think that.
I mean, Kyle kept Eric Reed. They kept Eric Reed. I don't think they really knew what they had in Tart. They saw them both. They were like, a player. So, I mean, where's Eric Reed now? Where's Tart now? I mean, Tart's definitely better than Eric. Anyway, Justin Reed. I saw him against Houston. I was so surprised. I was like, this guy doesn't look like Eric Reed at all. He's explosive and fast. I think that would be a hell of a signing. He's only 25
or 25. I think he's 20. He was 25.
He's going to get cashed out, though, don't you think?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, the guy you just mentioned, Tyrann Mathieu. There's some names out there in free agency in the safety market.
Tyrann Mathieu is a little old.
He's a little old. Marcus Williams is out there. I think he's a big name. Marcus May is a name, but he's coming off an Achilles injury. The other guy I've mentioned that I like is Tyrell Edmonds. I like him a lot. I just think.
Oh yeah.
I think. Reed is more athletic, and while Edmonds is bigger, I think Reed shows more to me in run support. To me, I see a lot of Edmonds kind of trying to run around tackles as opposed to run and making contact. Now maybe that can get coached out of him. I don't think I like Tyrell Edmonds a lot. He's very good safety. He doesn't get a lot of attention because of Fitzpatrick there, but Tyrell Edmonds he's all over in coverage. Yeah. Like I think he's got 200 yards allowed this past season. He's very good. Yeah. And they both of those safeties have better ball skills than Jaquiski Tart. I think Jaquiski has had 4 picks in his career, and Edmonds has played probably, I think, 3 less years, and he has 5. I don't remember the picks. I think Justin Reed's stats are something similar. And the other thing you get as a bonus with Reed is when he picks balls off, he tends to return them.
Okay. Well, are there any guys in the draft that you've noticed so far?
I haven't looked honestly too much. I started looking free agency first, and then I'll start looking at the draft.
I know the Niners have that late second round pick, and I haven't looked either, but I see right now there's 3 safeties projected in that range pre-combine. Brian Cook, Cincinnati, Lewis Cine, Georgia. I don't know how to pronounce Cine, and Jaquan Brisker, Penn State. So those might be 3 guys people should look into too. But I like Justin Reed. He was a 3rd round pick in 2018. I was really impressed. I didn't expect him to. He was the most impressive Texans defensive player when I was at that game.
Yeah, I think I'd be the thing is about it, what are you willing to pay for, right? He's young and he's good and he fits your system. So if you're going to splurge
him, you don't have to spend your 2nd round pick on a safety.
Right.
You might not want to.
Then you don't have to. Right. So I think that's a name, and I don't know what the market's going to determine what he's going to get paid. If the 49ers can get him for a decent cost, if he does not get the Jamal Adams, they can't give him the Jamal Adams contract, but I don't know. They might be able to do some salary cap magic. They might be able to give him something a little bit under Jimmy Ward. I don't know, or around the Jimmy Ward contract, something like that. But I think that would probably have to coincide with letting Lakin walk.
Okay. Jerry asks if Raheem Mostert isn't available. Mevlin Gordon.
Maybe.
I think he meant Melvin, but he could be someone else named Mevlin. I like Mevlin.
Mevlin Gordon. How about Merlin Gordon?
I'm so against signing running backs. I might even be against the Niners signing Raheem Mostert because what Raheem Mostert proves is how easy it is to get running backs and how much they lack durability. I mean, you want the next Mostert. I don't know if you want this Mostert because he lasted literally two carries this last year. So I'm sort of anti-signing running backs in general. I'm sorry that position has to be so,
I think,
dime a dozen, but it is.
I think the 49ers, in their meetings, they should tell their Bobby Turner, listen, you can have any running back you want as long as it's a fourth round pick or less.
No, sixth round or less.
Or a free agent that
undrafted
$1 million or less.
We're never going to do the Jerick McKinnon thing. We're never going to do the Tevin Coleman thing. And we're most likely never going to give any running back a second contract. We're just going to keep churning the position. I know it sucks, right?
And what they need to do is, I don't know if they've done or not, but give Bobby Turner a raise.
Oh, he's going to retire, man. He's 72 years old. He could maybe one more year, but at a certain point, the Shanahans need to leave him alone. Like, I know he's super important.
Keep milking the. That's what kills me sometimes about people like, oh yeah, all the Shanahan running backs. Dude, it's not Kyle. It's Bobby Turner. It's not.
Yeah, let's see how McDaniel does in Miami without Bobby Turner. We got any more? Yes, Jalen Peter. Baylor could be option in the draft.
I've seen that name as well.
They have him at 33 on CBS. So I don't know. We'll see what happens after the combine, but that would be out of the Niners' range at this point.
Yeah, I think, guys, when you're looking at safeties, you got to look at, again, size. It's the Niners like safeties that are around 6 foot, 200 plus pounds, and versatility. And the 49ers ask their safeties to fill in and run sports, so they have to be able to do that.
It says, dude can play single high in the box and multi-sets. Well, I would hope so, to be a safety drafted that high. How about Clinton Dix? Remember the special touchdown, the interception call for Clinton Dix? Remember that one? That was great. Okay, moving on. You wanted the 49ers to trade for Stephon Gilmore. They didn't. The Panthers did, and he was great for them. Now he's a free agent. Even easier to attain, 1 year older, but not that old. He's missed some time with injuries, but it's not like he's Jason Verrett or anything. Do you think the Niners should sign Stephon Gilmore?
I kind of changed my tune on this because of Ambry Thomas, and their cap space. And then what they have to do at safety.
Ambry? If Ambry changed your mind?
Here's the thing: is they have a lot to do in free. I mean, the thing about it, I think one of the things that people don't realize about is they need a backup, right? Backup quarterbacks are expensive. I think minimum they're gonna have to pay $4 million. I mean, I know people throwing out the Tyrell, the Tyrod Taylor thing. Tyrod Taylor, I think, got $12 million from the Texans last year. Like Andy Dalton got 10 from the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky got 2.5 from the Bills, but that was an oddity, and I don't think he's going to take that again. In fact, I think he's probably going to go to the Giants, where he's going to probably have an opportunity to play. So I would expect at least $4 million to go to the backup quarterback. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be 6.
So freaking disappointed in you right now. Keep going.
I guess I would say
disagree with you.
If the 49ers can afford it, I would think then yes. But if you ask me today,
you don't break the bank for him. But if you could get him on a 1-year deal,
yes.
Hold on. Can I make the case for him?
No, you go for it. If you get him on a 1-year deal, I'm good. But here's the thing: if you had to ask me to choose between Justin Reed and Stephon Gilmore, I'm probably going to go Justin Reed. He's younger, and they need a safety. They need a safety. So
get them both though. Okay, let me just say, if they could get him, here's why I think they should. Because look, I like Ambry Thomas too. I like Emmanuel Mosley too. Neither of those guys cover the slot, and Stephon Gilmore does really well. So what you could do. Why is the slot important? I'm going to get there in a second. But what you could do is have Mosley and Gilmore start. And then in nickel, you can move Gilmore to the slot and bring in Ambry Thomas. That's a terrific trio. And why is Gilmore important in the slot? Because the Niners have to have someone who can hold their own against Cooper Kupp. Have to. I mean, Gilmore can. Well, so I think that's a reason. If you don't have Gilmore, whatever your slot cornerback probably won't even be as good as K1 Williams.
Right. The other thing you could do is if you have a guy that you're supremely confident outside – is you can just leave him outside, single him up, leave him alone, and then you just double Cooper Kupp in the slot. Like put whoever you want on Cooper Kupp, and then you just double him.
Like that.
You know, you could do that as well.
Yep.
But either way, there are options to take Cooper Kupp away. I don't think we've talked about this, but I think that's the kind of the next evolution in what DeMeco Ryans has to do is he's had problems taking away receivers. They kind of go off when they want to. So that's the next evolution. If he can do that.
Well, maybe if the Niners gave him some premium corners. I mean, I like Ambry. He showed promise, but when he got beat, it was touchdown, 40-yard gain, 3rd and 15. I mean, Emmanuel Mosley, to me, is excellent. He doesn't give up big plays. He doesn't pick off a lot of passes, but
absolutely.
People just stop going after him after a while. Mosley.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about Stephon is I think he's gonna try to maximize his payout because – I don't know that he's not on. I don't think he's on Super Bowl quest. He's got a boatload of them from being in New England, so I think he's going to try to maximize his paycheck. So it'll be interesting to see.
No better way to maximize your paycheck than to take a 1-year deal with a California team and get a townhouse in Silicon Valley that you can spend $3,500 a month on. That's the best way to maximize your cash.
I mean, I do think Richard Sherman would say a lot of positive things about the Niners. He seems to still have positive thoughts about them. So
hey, Gilmore, you want to win a Super Bowl? I don't know, man. I don't know.
I like it if they can afford it. I like it. I just don't know.
They can bring in Justin Reed and Stephon Gilmore. What a secondary that would be! Wow. That would be a wow secondary to go with a wow front seven. I don't know.
Yeah,
figure it out. Figure it out.
If they can do some salary cap magic, move some stuff around, get with Armstead and all that stuff. Like if they can.
Matt H says maybe move McFloppy. No, they picked up his fifth this year, but didn't Compton prove we really don't need him? His injury is serious. Yeah, but I mean, who wants McGlinchey and that 5th year? I mean, seems to me it's hard to move him.
You can move him. The thing about it is that it's guaranteed. You can trade him, but that's guaranteed. So if you trade him, that team has to pay that.
Is it even guaranteed that he's going to bounce back? He tore a quad muscle. Isn't that fairly serious for a guy who's in a squat for 3 hours?
Right, and I think. In my opinion, I think regardless of that, like regardless of where he is in his recovery and all that, I think the 49ers have to address offensive tackle early because he's in his final year, and I wouldn't give him some massive contract. So I'm preparing to.
They cannot draft offensive linemen. They took McGlinchey over Colton. Colton Miller was a really good player, and everyone was like, Colton Miller has upside. He went to UCLA. I remember him. He was soft as hell at UCLA. Sorry. He was soft at UCLA. But everyone's like, look at his feet. He can play left tackle. McGlinchey, maybe he's a little more pro ready, but he's not a left tackle. And the Niners were like, we don't care. We want the right tackle. Word? You don't care about upside at all? And with the top 15 pick? No, I don't think. And then this most recent one, Aaron Banks, we're going to talk about him in a minute. Like, he couldn't play at all. 2nd round. I don't trust the Niners drafting or developing offense. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Should I trust them? I don't think so.
Maybe Anthony Lynn knows how to do it.
He's a running back coach.
He was a head coach though, so he's got to know.
You got to know. All right, we'll move on. Niners got some coaching spots to fill. Special teams. freaking tight ends, maybe offensive coordinator too. And there could be more. Any names out there that are on your radar make you interested? Bisaccia should have been one. Can I just say that real quick? The Niners should have signed Bisaccia. Then he goes, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Then he goes to the freaking Packers. And now that's a team that's one of the 4 good teams in the NFC that you have to go through. The only reason you beat the Packers is because they didn't have Bisaccia this year. And you just took advantage of him. But okay, anyway, he's gone. Anyone that you think they should go
I thought they beat the Packers because of God.
It was God
because they didn't have God.
Having such a bad special teams. You're like, we can't allow the football gods cannot allow this special team.
Should the 49ers just change the SF to like a cross and then like this and like the star
Heaven.
And like
Heaven 49er? Like, yeah, probably non-denominational. Yeah.
I don't have particular names, but I do want to talk about what to look for and where the 49ers might go. Is Kyle always seems to hire people that he knows or have relationships with. So that's what you got to look for. You got to look for relationships.
Anthony Lynn qualifies that he played for Mike Shanahan.
Yes, he did. He does qualify. He very rarely goes outside of that. So like, that's why when people, what you just mentioned, Bisaccia or how do you pronounce his name? And then Pep Hamilton, I kind of roll my eyes because what's his connection to those guys? He doesn't like
have one.
Yeah, that's not where he typically goes. So I would track relationships with him, and those are the guys you're going to look for, because that's his pattern. That's his MO. And then guys that he brings on internally. Like if he does anything, he's either going to promote someone from within the organization or he's going to look for someone that he knows.
Right. Like I don't think he prioritizes the special teams coach too much. I mean, his whole goal on special teams, he said, is to not lose the game there. And I think they lost a couple games on special teams, so that's probably why Hightower's out. But I don't think they're going to I think the tight end coach is probably more important. I mean, they're probably going to look for, to them, someone who can replace Embry. I don't see how they're going to find a better tight end coach than Embry, though. I always thought he was really good. I mean,
yeah.
Ask Kittle.
I don't know. Like there must have been some internal strife there with that. Just
the fact that Kittle didn't get the ball the last 6 games was weird, and I would imagine that someone must have. Kittle, Embry, both of them must have at the end of the season like, yo, what the hell? Privately, unless they're just all great buddies and they don't talk like that. But I would imagine, a lot of money at stake. Kittle can't get the ball. Whose fault is that? If you were Kittle's tight end coach and he was consistently getting frozen out so they could throw the ball to JaMychal Hasty, wouldn't you say something? I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe get fired.
Yeah, you probably would. You probably do want to advocate for your guys. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
He was also
Kyle or Kittle. I mean, you're in a tough spot, right? What do you do?
I mean, he was also an associate head coach, so that typically does come with some other responsibilities. So maybe
you're allowed to speak up, right? You're supposed to speak up.
Maybe they had a different in philosophy.
I don't know. Interesting to know.
It seems to be something happened along those lines.
I would probably think so. Yeah. Anyway, because I feel like the whole Kittle thing was weird all year. He didn't seem like he didn't even really hide his contempt for the trade. He was all in with Jimmy Garoppolo. He really had backhanded praise for Trey Lance. He was phased out. He was never the first option. It was all about Debo all year. I wonder how he feels about that. And then by the end, he was the 4th option in the passing game. I wonder how he feels. And now his coach of 5 years, who's very close with, is gone for so the Niners could. I don't know. I still don't get that. But anyway, I wonder how the whole relationship with Kittle is. And I think it kind of started with that extension. That was I think a painful process. I think they might have said some things to Kittle in that negotiation process that he took personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's possible.
He's a product of, or if without Kyle, or, I don't know. Maybe he seems like the kind of guy who he's
an emotional guy.
Not like Jimmy, who can be like, well, they screwed me over left and right, but oh well. I don't think it was like that.
I mean, they screwed him over left and right, except for the giant ass contract they gave him. So
yeah, I guess they screwed over. Just kind of like jerked him around. Is that more fair? Is that like the more accurate phrase? It's kind of.
But Kittle would be wise to get on the Trey train, because that's going to be
seemed like they had a good rapport on the field together in Houston. I'm just saying.
And also, if you look at it, we've talked about it before, is in the red zone, Trey likes to go to his tight end. So I mean,
And it's not like Jimmy was getting the ball to Kittle all that much the last 6 weeks of the season. So
yeah, I think the production. I think Kittle's production was tied to, or lack of production or whatever is tied to Jimmy. I don't think it was.
The one thing though is like the fumble in Dallas that wasn't a fumble. Was it Dallas or was it Dallas?
I think it was Dallas, right? The fumble, and then there was
the count, and then the drop was like, man, what happened to you? Yeah. So it was like that was the only thing that was, because there were some times that he got missed, but other times it was like, man, you're so much better than this. What is this? It's like the time of the season to step it up. But then he made like the one-handed catch in Green Bay, right? Mm-hmm. He made a bunch of one-handed catches. No,
he did. He did. The one. The one I think it was Houston. I think it was like a seam or like a skinny post.
Yep.
That was really nice.
And he had one on the sideline in Green. Was it in the NFC Championship game? Was it against the Rams? I forget.
Yeah, that's why I think I don't think it's him and his ability. I think get him freaking ball.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking he might be a little salty. Like, why? Hold on. Why am I getting phased out? What the hell is going on here? But can someone say something to Kyle?
Like when you, it's also when you throw the fourth lowest or like you're the in the league. There's only so many opportunities, right? So, like, there's only so many.
The last 6 weeks, it went freaking Debo 75 yards a game, Ayuk 60, Jennings 30, Kittle 26. That can't happen, man. I mean, it should be like Kittle and Ayuk should be pretty close, because I'm not really sure who's better between them.
I think the other thing is, but I also think it's easier to take Kittle away out of all those guys because Jimmy doesn't. Right, you don't have to worry about Jimmy throwing deep. So. Okay, so
all the more reason to bring Trey in. Then let's see what Trey does with Kittle.
Kittle works. Kittle works in the middle, so that's easy. It's a lot easier to take him away than the other guys. You don't really run the ball with Kittle. You run it with Debo. So like, I think that's
if they get more 2 deep coverage this year because Trey Lance is taking shots off play action, then Kittle's going to eat up that seam like Vernon Davis used to. That'll be cool.
Should be.
We'll actually see Kittle catch the ball down the field as opposed to in the flat.
Right, and that should help his career and what like. So you don't have to break 95 tackles, and if you are breaking tackles, you're breaking them on a corner, like or a safety, not freaking linebacker, or all 3 linebackers converging on you.
Do you think we could get Lattimore from the Saints for Jimmy? Makes sense to get his contract off the books.
I haven't looked at the contract, but if it's a situation where the Saints would have to eat the prorated bonus and his base salary was low, that might be a good deal. But corners usually go for something pretty hefty, and he's pretty young, I think. So
Marshawn Lattimore's a hell of a player too. I don't think the new head coach is Dennis Allen.
Yeah, that's also like I don't know. He's gonna be like, oh, let me give away my best cover corner for.
How is that the best they could
chips?
Do, how is that the best they could do, man? I'm so sorry, but like Dennis Allen, are you kidding me? Sorry.
I mean, I don't want to keep harping on this, but with like there only being 4 minority coaches, but like Brian Flores is really good. Did a really good job.
It's just so funny how guys like Doug Peterson, another Dennis Allen, another like these guys are
wait
failed.
Wait. Dennis Allen, you can't compare. Doug Peterson won a friggin' Super Bowl, so like Dennis Allen
and still got ran out of town, which is hard to do. Yeah. Dennis Allen was a flop at no point had success. At no point.
Yeah.
And he was out here. My dad covered Dennis Allen. I mean, like the word on Dennis Allen is that he couldn't look people in the eye walking down the hall. Like he'd be the kind of guy where he'd be like, hi Dennis, and he'd be like he's a coordinator, an idea guy, not a leader. But that's why he worked with Sean Payton, guys like that. Anyway, good luck.
Yeah. On that subject, shout out to Lovie Smith who got his 3rd shot, which is usually what white coaches get, right? They usually get, I was kind of surprised on that.
Just shows how good Lovie Smith is.
I hope the Texans actually don't do it like they did the former guy.
It seems like it though, right?
Yeah, like
another one. Hey, we couldn't get the guy we wanted this year, so why don't we just give another guy 1 year?
Yeah,
it's rough.
But hey, Lovie, take that paycheck and do your best job. Like,
shock the world.
Yeah.
All right. Where do the Niners currently stand in the NFC West? I asked this because Kyler Murray's in the middle of a serious fit. I don't know what kind of fit you want to call it, but he has scrubbed his social medias of any reference or picture of the Arizona Cardinals, which is always something like someone who's like, I don't know, really young would do. Anyway, seems like he's pissed. I don't know. Maybe it's just a contract thing, but where do you think the Niners stay? Do you think this changes things?
Yeah, on that subject, I suspect that the Cardinals are playing tough in negotiations, or they said, hey, we're going to pick up your 5th-year option. We're not going to re-sign you. But you know what? I think you probably stand the same way I do on this. Is I agree with that. Like
I do.
What I don't want to give Kyler.
It's hurt every year.
Yeah, and he doesn't play well, and he throws interceptions. Like I'm not giving him the bag.
I liked him on a rookie deal, but now if I were them, I would trade him.
Trade
him for the first pick in the draft. Trade him for Aaron Rodgers. Dude, trade him. Oh, he's mad. He's never healthy after week 10.
Yeah.
Trade him.
Kyler Baker, I'm letting y'all walk or trade you like to some other sucker that want, and I'd rather get another rookie on I'm only paying the guys that are
trade him to Houston. Trade him to Houston. He's from Texas. They're in shambles. Boom. Now you don't have to worry about Deshaun Watson anymore. Take Kyler Murray. Do they have the first pick in the draft?
Houston?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Trade him for the first pick in the draft, although you can't get a quarterback this year. That's the problem. See, that's the problem.
Look, trade him at Carolina is desperate for a quarterback. Trade him to Carolina.
Trade him to
anywhere. Yeah. Trade him. Right. So I think to get back where they stand.
49ers for Jimmy Garoppolo. 2-quarterback system.
Yeah. I think that the 49ers are positioned fairly well. If you look at the salary cap situation with these teams, I mean, if Cardinals do give Kyler the bag, they're going to have a tough time putting together a roster.
That team doesn't seem like it's staying together. The coach stinks. The quarterback's unhappy. It doesn't seem like that's really a very cohesive unit. It seems like it's the Niners and the Rams division for now.
Right. They always fall apart. Then Seattle has big issues. Like, are they going to get rid of Russell Wilson? They're
running it back.
They're running it back.
Revenge tour in Seattle. I don't take them seriously. That team is totally broken. I'm sorry.
And now, while the Rams
should get better though, because I think they're going to get some of that Jared Goff money off their books. Though
I thought I looked, and they're scheduled to have they're in the negatives for next year. Now I think they can do some salary cap rearranging, but I don't think they're going to clear. I don't think they're going to clear like 40 mil. I think that the Rams are going to be competitive.
They're essentially going to be the same team next year, though.
Pretty much, I think. I think they'll be competitive.
They'll get Beckham back. They'll get Von Miller back, but that's their team. Which that means the Niners are in prime position to take over.
I don't even know. I don't know that they'll get Von Miller back, to be honest with you. He's a free agent, and they've got tight cap space. Like, they can work salary cap magic, but there's only so much. Like, they're not going to clear 40 mil. Like, they're going to.
What you're saying is, if Trey Lance is the real deal, and the Niners keep most of their team together, they should be the team to beat in the NFC West.
Yeah, I believe so. Remember, it wasn't that far off. They almost beat them, right? They almost beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
You and I think
the Niners got to eventually beat the Cardinals and Seahawks once. Like, that would be a great start.
Yeah.
But maybe they can this year.
Right. But they've proven that they don't need to. Right. We're just going to beat the Rams and then get into the playoffs. And then
all the AFC teams. Yeah. All right. So, it seems to me that they're breaking pretty well. The Rams they don't really have an opportunity to make themselves better, although they're very good. And the Cardinals are kind of like they're having creative differences over there. It's not really working out for that group. They may have to start over, which is interesting. So, very good time for the Niners to take over. Even though they didn't get Stafford this year and go all in this year, they could actually pull it off next year. Probably have a better chance if Trey Lance had a little more experience, but I'm not going to say that. Because I just did. All right, let's go back to the other part. Let's go to the offensive line. Aaron Banks is the second-round pick on this team last year. He never got a chance to play. I have no idea what to make of him because at a certain point, the Niners were saying Ambry Thomas is nothing. And then all of a sudden, they gave him a chance, and they're like, oh, wow, look at him go. So I'm not going to write off Aaron Banks. I have no idea what to expect. I don't think that he's a bust. I think he's a kid who hasn't gotten a chance yet. Do you think he'll get his chance this year? And what do you think the expectations? What do you think your expectations are? And what are the Niners' expectations, do you think?
It's going to be really interesting. I think the free agency will say a lot. If they let Laken walk, it means that they think he's ready. And I know what you just talked about is they wouldn't play their rookies for the first half of the season, and they basically only went to him when they had to, like when nobody else can play corner. Remember, Emery got his shot because Josh Norman got hurt. There's a good chance that if Josh Norman was fine, they probably would have just rolled with him for the rest of the year. Like, it wasn't some big revelation. Like,
and that's again why I keep saying that Trey Lance should have played. Like, the Niners never gave these young guys chances unless they were absolutely had to.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Just for the sake of it, on principle.
So, like, you and I don't know. Like, Aaron Banks might have been fine in practice, but they're like, we're rolling with Laken, or we're rolling with Brunskill. And the other part of that too is Banks is naturally a left guard, and he's transitioning to right guard. There is a difference in playing that. He might have not really gotten comfortable at right guard, and maybe he is comfortable at left guard, and that could play a role. So there's that as well. So
I think they moved him back to the left.
Yeah, so that he could. I think if they don't re-sign Laken, I think that'll say a lot.
I'm not sure they will re-sign Laken. I'm not sure they can. I mean, they're going to spend a ton of their money on Debo and Bosa this offseason, and Laken's going to be expensive. Laken could get $50 million. Laken's one of the better guards on the market right now. He could get a lot of money from a team like Miami.
Yeah, and he should. And if you're,
and I think they drafted Banks because they're anticipating this.
And you should be, if you're spending a second round pick on a guard, he should be able to play.
And wouldn't you think that Banks' style of play is a better fit with Trey Lance than with Jimmy Garoppolo? I mean, it seems like he would be really good with like the zone read stuff, pushing people up the middle. Not as good at running sideline to sideline.
Yeah, I don't remember who commented this, but I think someone noticed that Aaron Banks seemed to have trimmed down. So that might have,
I think it was Jason Ponte.
Okay, so that might have played a role in.
So do you expect him to compete for the left guard spot, compete for the right guard spot, or just be buried again?
I think compete. Like, if he's buried again, they got a serious problem. They need to draft another guard again. Like,
they got to give him a chance at some point, right? Because their track record of like writing off rookies before even seeing them in a game isn't so good.
Yeah.
Is it?
Imagine if
Ambry Thomas was trash, and they're like, "Oh wait, no, he's not." Oh wait,
you're gonna have some good rants next year if Trey plays well, and then Aaron Banks comes in and plays well. Like, you're like,
oh yeah,
why did he play these guys last year? He couldn't do this stuff last year.
No, rookies aren't allowed to do things like that. Let's stick with it. The next pick, 2 picks later. They took Trey Sermon. The 49ers drafted Trey Sermon in the 3rd round and then pretty much put him on ice. I don't know if he said something, gave Kyle a look, but he was doghoused the whole year. Brandon Ayuk, you had nothing on this guy. They traded up for Trey Sermon. They seemed like they had some kind of a plan, but he's definitely not the kind of running back they usually have. He's not super fast. He's not an outside zone guy. Again, he seems like a really good fit with Trey Lance. I mean, he played in college with Justin Fields and Kyler Murray. If you liked his tape, you probably envisioned him doing similar things with Trey Lance. If Lance is playing and starting all year, is Sermon going to be a factor?
I think he probably will be a mix. I mean, we know that when the 49ers invest in a guy, especially in a draft pick, they like to give them tons of chances. So while he might be in the doghouse, I'm sure.
That's Jalen Hurd.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he'll get his chances. And the 49ers have a great record with running backs. So, I mean, if they drafted him in the 3rd round, I thought it was way too high. I liked him, but I don't like drafting running backs in the 3rd round, particularly with Bobby Turner. But I think he'll get a shot, especially with Trey Lance back there, and him offering a unique skill set. And now will that mean like less carries for like Jeff Wilson or something? It might.
Well, that's what I want to say. Jeff Wilson Jr. is a free agent. In my opinion, they should let him walk. Again,
they probably will.
I know, like, it's always tough. We were just talking about how you got to not re-sign running backs. It's hard because there's a sentimentality tied to it. He's been on the team for a while. He's taken so much punishment. You always feel for a running back and what they've given. They always feel like they've given the most to a team. They've put in the most out there. Jeff, thanks for everything. But he's hurt a lot. And he's not that much better than anyone else. And you can't start giving him millions of dollars because you like him, because he's one of the guys. Jeff, go to Miami. Let Mike McDaniel bring you into that organization to help set the culture. And the Niners, you have Trey Sermon, you have Elijah Mitchell, you have JaMychal Hasty. Boom, there's your trio.
Right.
And you have Debo. Boom.
And these are the guys, like injured guys are the guys that they have to try to start getting away from as an organization. And
honestly, Mostert should go too. I love Mostert. He shouldn't come back.
While while we talk about like how they can plug and play running backs, when they were down to like no running backs this year, it definitely had an impact on their game. So like that while they can deal,
we're saying like those are the three plus Debo and the inevitable 6th round pick that Bobby Turner has.
Yeah,
that's 5.
Right.
That's great. And you can put one guy in the practice squad and stash him, and he'll end up being good. You don't need Jeff Wilson Jr. Trey Sermon could be used. Again, Trey Lance could probably get 4 or 5 carries a game. Trey Sermon could get 4 or 5 carries a game. You definitely don't need to give Debo Samuel 8 to 10 carries a game in September, October, November. That's something you do in the playoffs if necessary. That's your knockout punch, but you don't do it all the time. No. Sermon's important. Sermon's important, and I think Lance is going to make him viable.
Yeah,
they pair up nicely. I think the trio of Lance, Banks, and Sermon, I think they were drafted with each other's fit in mind.
Yeah.
I think they were. And they were all sort of redshirted. I'm not going to say Banks is no good. Literally wasn't given a chance. Thomas finally got a chance, played well. Let's see what Banks and Sermon have.
And you don't need Banks to be a Pro Bowler. I mean, that would be great. But like if he can play in a good. If he can play equal to Tomlinson, maybe a little under, but if he plays a little under, then you got to secure the right guard spot, and you can't get Brunskill level play. Like you got to get better than that.
All right. Do you think the 49ers will find a way to acquire a 1st round pick this year? They don't have one. They currently have a 2nd and 2/3, and their history drafting in the 1st round is very inconsistent. They have like home runs and strikeouts, pretty much nothing in between. What do you think the Niners will do here?
They might. I mean, I almost think if they don't move into the 1st round, they'll at least move up in the 2nd because they're going to get some. I don't know what they're going to get for Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, maybe I have no idea. It can go. It can range.
To me, that's all. Like we got to start there. But if they can get a 1st from Jimmy, as they think they can get, then yeah, they'll have a 1st round pick.
I think what they might do is like they might trade Jimmy and like their 2nd and like a 4th for a team's 1st or something, and then they're like, oh, we got a 1st for Jimmy. Well, no, you didn't. You just moved up. Right. But that seems to make sense, like because this team doesn't have like a lot of holes. They have to fill some roster spots and stuff like that. But they have some positions that they need to address, and they need some guys to play now, like safety. You know, ideally you want to get younger there, but so you want to be able to target. If you don't just sign somebody in free agency, you need someone that can play now. Like remember when the 49ers back in the day when they led trying to remember the Goldson walk, and then they had Reed in mind in the 1st round. They just used the 1st round pick on Reed. So that might be something, that the 49ers look to do. Like just, all right, well, we're going to move up to try to get safety that we want and use our draft resources for that.
Well, just so we're clear, I know the Niners have a fantasy that they can trade Jimmy Garoppolo 1st round pick. Maybe they'll pull it off. I'm skeptical. And if it is a 1st round pick, it'll be a 1st round pick in like 3074. It'll be so far in the future. But anyway, what was I going to say? Okay, no. Who actually could fetch the 49ers a 1st round pick if they decided they needed one? Like, who would they have to put on the table? Obviously, there's Bosa, there's Debo, there's Kittle. Would Warner get you a 1st anymore? Would Armstead get you a 1st?
With Garoppolo?
No. Just people on there, guys who are worth a 1st round pick on the Niners. Who are they? I'm just curious.
Oh.
Kittle, Bosa, Debo, are those 3? Anyone else?
Debo, Bosa,
maybe Kittle. Yes, Kittle. I think Kittle.
Yeah, probably Kittle.
Armstead, not convinced.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Maybe.
So I'm thinking probably not. I'm thinking probably no first-round pick for the Niners this year, unless, again,
I'm just trying to think for Warner. I'm just trying to think of history of off-the-ball linebackers
Good point.
Yeah.
And he's also not exactly a bargain. And he just came off a year where everyone agreed it was a down year for him, including him. So maybe 3 guys. Kyle. 4.
I also think
guys you're not willing to get rid of.
Now, the one thing that can play a role in this is
Trent Williams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Trent Williams. The one thing that could play a role in this is the hires that are going on in the league, like more and more guys from Kyle's system and everything, and the 49ers. I don't know if it'll be interesting to see what McDaniels does defensively if he hires guys off the 49ers staff and adapts the 49ers system, because as that system becomes more prevalent in the NFL, the guys at the 49ers value are valued by more teams, right? So like, I think the 49ers value, Fred Warner's value to the 49ers is higher than other teams because of the system that they run, and also some intangible stuff of what he does or means for the organization.
Ralph has a good question. I mean, the most likely player to get traded this year, other than Jimmy, is Dre Greenlaw. What do you think the Niners would get for him? I mean, he just came off a season where he was hurt the whole time. I would think fifth, sort of what they gave him.
You're doing that just to get extra capital and to clear like $2.5 million that he did.
Okay. So I just alluded to this before, the players on the team that would net a first-round pick. In your opinion, now this is a quiz. I know the answer. I want to know if you know the answer. Who is the 49ers' number 1 trade chip? If they had to determine who would bring back the most in a trade in this organization, who is it? And why?
There's two names, and it's
two.
It's Bosa and Debo.
It's Bosa. It's Bosa. You got it right. I think it's Bosa. Even though to me, Deebo Samuel is the best player in the team, the most valuable player in the team, I think Bosa is worth the most in a trade for a lot of reasons. He's an edge rusher. I think people look at them as, on the hierarchy of positions, for whatever reason, it's quarterback, edge rusher, and offensive weapon is down the list, even though it's important. They don't get paid as much. Bosa would get paid more on the open market. He's had 2 seasons of elite production. He comes from a very famous family. I think Bosa could get you the number 1 pick in the draft. I think he could. I think he's that valuable. Or at least a top 5.
Yeah. I think he unlocks that defense. I think people talked about Eric Armstead and what he did, but Bosa's production was consistent all year, and people pay so much attention to him, and he's made big plays all year.
Allow me to retort. Bosa's great. Bosa's great. I'm not downplaying what he does, but you know who else is great? Chris Kosarick. And what we saw is when Bosa went down in the first half of the Dallas playoff game, and left, he was having a great game. The Niners defense picked it up while he was out, and they had endless depth. And so what I'm saying is I'm not saying trade Bosa. I'm saying it's important to remember that he's a very, very, very valuable trade chip. And what you could do if you needed more assets is trade him for like the first pick in the draft and draft the next Bosa. And have another great edge rusher, and also be able to free up cap space, because eventually this guy's going to cost you $35 million a year.
If you were to do that, this year would be the year to do it, since there's two premium edge rushers at the top of the draft, and Thibodeau and
I'm not saying, but the thing that's nice about Bosa too is I don't think, even if the Niners give him the extension and make him the highest paid defensive player of all time, I don't think his value goes down. I think everyone loves Bosa. And I think everyone would agree that would be a fair price for him, and they could find a team that would give up a high pick for him at whatever price, because even if he gets hurt, because he's shown that he can come back better. I don't know. I think they can hold on to him, but I feel like that's something they could do down the line. They could do it now. They could do it in the future. But if they ever want the number 1 pick in the draft and a lot of cap space, it's an option. It's an option.
It is an option.
Debo, I don't know if you want to get rid of Debo, because he's always going to impact your quarterback. He's going to make your quarterback better. Bosa plays defense. Bosa doesn't impact Trey Lance at all. He plays an important position, but the Niners have a defensive line coach who can manufacture a pass rush. He's shown it.
Right. I think to an extent, though. I mean, you talked about the Dallas game, and yes, he did it. But like when you look at what the 49ers last year, he could manufacture pass rush last year. But when they started facing elite quarterbacks, they could remember the Josh Allen game. And
I wouldn't say trade Bosa for no one. I would trade him for next Bosa.
I agree, and I think I think you need an elite guy there, and if you're gonna this year will be the year to do it because you got two that you could get at the top of the draft. And
I like elite edge rushers for sure. I do. I really do. And he is one. I'm just saying he's gonna get paid like one soon, and the Niners don't have first round picks for like the next 3 decades. So
to be honest, they've created a blueprint for it in Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like in a couple of years, you could be like, all right, well, you know what? We're just going to get cheaper at that position. We're going to move up in the draft to like the third or fifth overall pick.
Yeah.
Trade our best guy. Oh, I wouldn't call Jimmy your best guy, but trade your starter and get a return and then reset
If they extend Bosa this year, he'll still be relatively cost effective the next 2 years. Like his cap number will be low. That's been the Niners' pattern, unless the last couple of years with Kittle, Armstead. It's like year 3 where they get really expensive. So I see no reason to trade Bosa yet. He's still going to be a bargain until 2020. What? 2020 freaking 5? I mean,
he
really
stays healthy, especially like the other.
But eventually, you might want to trade him. I'm just saying. I mean, unless you
do
want him in the Ring of Honor or something because he's so important to the culture of the team.
If somehow you can nail like an edge rusher in like the 3rd or 2nd round and nail that pick and get another elite guy, then I mean, not only will you just really unlock some kind of defense, then the Bosa trade becomes definitely an option.
The Jedi says we shouldn't sweat the first round this year. Treat the second like the first and move up in the second. Cost less as well.
Yeah, I think that's an option. I think they can moving up in the second. Depends on target. I think to me, safety and I know people aren't talking about this, but I think offensive tackles should be. You can't. Those guys, you don't really find them in late in the draft. They're 2nd round picks, 1st round picks. So if you want to have a shot at like legitimately replacing McGlinchey, you got to address it early. It's not going to be Colton McKivitz in the 5th round or Jalen Moore. It's got to be someone early, 1st, 2nd round.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on. Can we just take a moment to appreciate Deebo Samuel's 2021-2022 season? Because a lot of people locally understand that it was great, and Niner fans worldwide understand that it was great, but he wasn't the quarterback. Everyone was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance all year. The Niners didn't even go to the Super Bowl, and this season's going to kind of get forgotten. And to me, as just a Bay Area sports aficionado, it's up there with any season any athlete has ever had. I mean, I watched Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs. This felt like that kind of season. I watched Steph Curry have transcendent years where he broke the 3-point shooting record. This felt like that. It felt like as great as any Bay Area athlete season ever. And like, let's just pause a minute to see what he did. To me, he was the best. He was the best wide receiver in the NFL and the best running back in the NFL. I've never seen a player do anything like that. He dragged the freaking team to the playoffs. They were 3-5. He's like, look, I'll play running back. Fine. They were 3rd and 20 in Chicago down, and he's like, I'll just break off an 83-yard. He really – and then week 18 when he threw a touchdown pass when Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't. He dragged them to the playoff, dragged them to the NFC Championship game, and then got the ball taken out of his hands. He saved Kyle's job. If Kyle had lost – I don't know. Maybe Kyle wouldn't have gotten fired if they missed the playoffs, but he saved John Lynch's job. There would have been organizational upheaval. He kept a lot of people employed. And then he just got Mike McDaniels the head coaching gig in Miami. And he got himself, as you pointed out on Twitter, the bag, as the kids say. What a year for Deebo Samuel. Legendary.
It's pretty stunning when you think about the 2 moments when in Dallas when it was third and long, and then again was it Green Bay or the Rams?
3rd and 7. It was 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7, back-to-back weeks.
And
same call.
You give it to your wide receiver, and he gets the first down.
Now, in Dallas came up an inch short, and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
But in Green Bay, he did it.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible.
He should be the MVP of the league. You said someone ranked.
ESPN put out and ESPN put out the top 5 non-quarterback players in the league. Cooper Kupp 1, Aaron Donald 2. I forgot who they had at 3, and then Deebo was 4.
Let me tell you why that's false. If the Rams had Deebo Samuel, they would run their offense through Deebo because they're not crazy.
Right.
I mean, Cooper Kupp would get a lot of catches too, but the offense would run through Deebo. You know why? Because he's the best player in the league. And Sean McVay's not crazy.
Right, and Cooper's production is reliant on Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Debo's production was not reliant on Jimmy. I mean, it is to some extent, but like he caught 1,400 yards and was running the ball with Jimmy Garoppolo.
He led the league in yards. I'm not done. He led the league in yards per catch, playing with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I mean, he wasn't playing with Mahomes or Stafford or someone who actually wants to throw the ball down the field. It was like, catch this 10-yard pass and then gain yards, and he could do it better than anyone else. Unreal this season. I mean, I really, when I started being cognizant of football, Jerry Rice was already pretty much 30. I never saw Rice really in his mid-20s like this. I'm sure it was equally as impressive, but to me, it felt like a Jerry Rice season.
Yeah, and I think
the MVP, he's not going to win it though.
Yeah, I think he knows it too, and it was an interesting moment. I think it was in a Dallas game, right, where they got the turnover, and then Debo looked to Kyle and said something like, "I got you," which basically means give me the ball. I'll handle it.
And if only Debo had said that in the NFC Championship game, man.
I was just gonna say that. Like, it is. I'm not really on the Kyle Blewett bandwagon, but I will say that it is inexcusable that you don't get your best player the ball within the last quarter of the game, or the ball once.
It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. Imagine in like basketball, right? If you lost an elimination game because your best player got one shot in the fourth quarter, like coach would get fired so fast. Are you kidding? It's your one job is to get him the ball.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm not saying fire Kyle, but sometimes he really, really makes it about himself when it's not about him.
Yeah, I remember watching a Saban video, and he was talking about how when he back in West Virginia, when he played high school ball, he was a high school quarterback, and in those days, you had to call your own plays as a quarterback, and he was in the state championship game in the last, they had to score the last second to win, and he called timeout, looked at his coach like, what do you want? And the coach was like, you're the quarterback, you call it. But all I know is you got an all-state wide receiver with a bunch of scholarships and a running back. It's got to be something that involves those two. And he called like play action pass to it. The receivers scored and won the game. But
it's your choice. But don't be stupid.
Yeah, in critical moments, you have to get the ball rely on your best players. Yeah. And conversely, on defense in critical moments, and this is why I talk about D'Amico Ryans taking away their best receivers, in critical moments, you have to take away their best options, make them go to somebody else that's not their best player. And
yeah, I mean, look, if you look at what Debo was doing, he had 13 touches in the divisional game, 13 touches in the wild card game, 11 touches in the NFC Championship game.
And
maybe 2 more touches in the fourth quarter is the difference. I mean, really, the Rams did a great job against Debo, the running back. That wasn't working. But they did not do a great job against Debo, the tunnel screener. They couldn't stop that. And You know what? In the fourth quarter, the Niners couldn't block anyone. So that would have been a good play to call one more time. And if the Rams overplayed it, then you could let Debo Samuel throw a touchdown pass to whoever was blocking. I mean, there's so many things that you could have done. But no, you just let Jimmy Garoppolo run around.
But even if you lose, I feel a lot better going to my best player, and I'm like, all right, well, I gave him.
Yeah.
Rather than throwing it to,
because that way you don't have Debo Samuel sobbing on the sidelines, being like, I didn't even get a chance. The crying was so deep to me because it wasn't just the pain of defeat. It was we lost, and I didn't have a say. They took it out of my hands. I could have won this game, and I didn't get a chance to do it. I won the Green Bay game. I won the Week 18 game. I won the game in Chicago. I could have won this game, and I didn't get a chance. But I mean, I wasn't in his body. I don't know. Maybe I was projecting. That's what it seems like.
I think Debo next year, if in that situation, he's got to look at Kyle and give him the ball.
Yeah, don't make me tell you again, Kyle.
Yeah.
So,
and I just want to say on that subject, maybe in every cast you should have like a moment of silence for appreciation for Debo Samuel's season.
Yeah, man, it was came to an end too soon.
At the 19th minute mark, every cast Moment of silence for Debo.
Moment of silence for the season that wasn't. Second quarter hit made Kyle lose confidence in Jimmy getting the ball to Debo without getting him killed, my theory. Yo, but that was like a slant over the middle, man. The call was a screen to Debo. In the Super Bowl, the call was an end around to Debo. Never was stopped.
Right.
And the call was a screen to Debo, and they didn't do, especially because the Niners couldn't block anyone in the fourth quarter. Kyle, thank you. All right, moving on. Last topic.
Maybe put Debo at right tackle. I don't know, block.
He'd probably do it. Hey, shouldn't Debo be the backup quarterback? I mean, really. He's got great touch, great feel. I think he'd do it. Why not? All right. The quarterback people think Jimmy Garoppolo is. There is a cult fan base around Jimmy Garoppolo, and they think he is something truly transcendent and special, which he's not. But it's funny because I feel like there is a quarterback out there that is the guy Jimmy Garoppolo fans want Jimmy to be, if that makes sense.
Jimmy Garoppolo just wills the 49ers to win. It doesn't matter the picks that he throws or almost throws or
his athletic limitations
or
whatever.
Wills.
He's just the best leader. The best leader. His intangibles are off the freaking charts. And not only that, but there is an aura of magic around him. Like he might be King Arthur reincarnated or King David. He's on the King David, King Arthur spectrum.
Yeah, almost Jesus. Almost Jesus.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like you against a biblical giant named Goliath, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm betting on Jimmy G.
Yeah, this guy does exist. He's just not on the 49ers and you can actually watch him on Sunday, and it's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow on his second year to LSU. LSU was just a team in the SEC. They were like good program and all that. Yeah. Second year, he took them to a national championship out of nowhere with Ed Orgeron as their head coach. The guy that's talks like the guy from Waterboy. Set NCAA records.
You're telling me that Ed Orgeron wasn't the mastermind of that offense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
it's not like Joe Brady's really lit the world on fire since he left there. It really was a Joe Burrow production.
Yeah, there's actually a great clip. I don't know if you've ever seen it on the reporters are like having a press conference with Ed Orgeron and like they're training in the back. Shut the hell up!
I've seen that. Yeah. I've seen that. That was great. Culture.
Right.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. I've seen them play in person. Now, when I saw them, I wasn't really impressed with Burrow, but he had just messed up his pinky. He was a little bit banged up. And while he started off the game slow, I felt like their offensive coordinator or whatever was trying to establish the run against a great run defense. And then when they finally let Burrow throw in the second half, he brought him right back in the game.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
He's got the Bengals. The Bengals haven't won a playoff game in 30 years, over 30 years. Never won a playoff game in the Super Bowl.
If he wins the Super Bowl with the Bengals, wow. That would be quite an accomplishment. See, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo could do that.
No. And the other thing is you see it. Like he's got the intangible in the med, but you see it also. It shows on the field what the throws that he can make. And you know what his interception rate in the playoffs is?
What?
1.8.
He's thrown one, right?
He's thrown 4 touchdowns and I think one or two. It's 1.8.
Okay.
Because it's also the amount of throws like that you're throwing.
You know how many touchdown passes he threw in the regular season? 34.
Yeah.
34. Yeah, he's a whole different. But I get the similarities, like not super mobile, not super big, kind of something intangible. Like people like his personality. They're different personalities.
Yeah.
But players rally around. Everyone seems to like Joey B, who's a lot like Jimmy G, except better. Joey B.
Yeah, I'm a believer. I do believe in the intangibles. I do think there is something about that does connect teams to winning. But you can't have that intangibles and then be like
nothing else.
Yeah, nothing. You can't be like Nate Sudfeld.
Just be a coach. Yeah, just be the quarterback coach at that point.
Right.
V says, dude has made it to the NFC Championship years twice already. This argument would have had Andy Reid out of the league a long time ago. Now he's a Hall of Famer.
You talking about Kyle?
You're talking about Kyle?
He's talking about
well, no one's saying fire Kyle. I'm just saying, like, why are you confident that Kyle won't mess it up next year? Even if, because the Niners, I think everyone agreed the Niners are the best team in the league this year. And why are they not in the Super Bowl? They started 3-5. They didn't get the ball to Debo in the fourth quarter. A lot of like things that were in Kyle's control. Why are you so confident that a great like an excellent coach like him with an excellent team next year won't mess it up the way he has 3 times?
Right. If they move Eric Armstead back to defensive end, I'm going to throw my chair in through my computer.
You hear that?
Like,
Grant, do you think they will take less than a first for Jimmy G? Ooh,
yes.
They're better. It's freaking better.
Yeah.
If they turn down a third for Jimmy G, Jimmy can't do any wrong. Group, please roast them. Boom, roasted.
Yeah,
he can do lots of wrong and does it.
Yeah,
Grant, one last Jimmy G pump. Man, I don't want to anymore. Do I have to? I don't want to. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I don't want to make fun of Jimmy anymore. That's the next team's job. I gotta pass that torch. Yeah. I gotta start making fun of other people. It's only fair.
Not Trey Lance though, because 49ers that
not at this time. Nah, man, I'm pretty all in with Trey. I don't think I can do that yet.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show. Thanks for watching, everyone. 810 people on a Tuesday in the offseason. That's pretty good. The Niners are going to make some news eventually. We're all chilling, waiting for them to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to do it. I'm thinking they're going to probably do it eventually. Combine starts in a couple weeks. No,
maybe they'll trade Nick Bosa.
Maybe they watched this channel. Maybe they watched this show today. They were like, "Damn, we got to trade him." Hey, if that's the case, sorry, Niner fans. I didn't even really believe anything of what I said today. Nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I always believe what I say. Thanks, everyone.